What's going on, gamers? Welcome back to another first Descendant video. I want to go over some stuff that I wish I knew when I first started playing. A lot of people always ask the same question: how do I do this? How do I do this? Is this important? What mod should I upgrade? Why is Dead Bride killing me? Why is all these bosses just one-shotting me? So we're going to go over some stuff that's important in the game that you can kind of understand to get you into the end game. So I want to point out mastery rank. Why is this so important? Well, I just catalyst my character. We're going to call this catalyst. I'll explain it in a second. I went from level 40 all the way back to level 1. But why this is important: the higher master rank you are, the more module capacity you get to keep every time you reset. Also, there is some weapons that are hidden behind mastery rank 15. Like, you can't even discover them, you can't even craft them. They're master rank 15. They say master rank 20 is the sweet spot. You can only do so much. If you're wondering how to level up your mastery rank, it's just by playing, leveling up your weapons, leveling up new descendants. Taking your descendant from 40 to level 1, you do not get mastery rank. You have to play on different descendants. The descendant materials, as you see, kind of drop as you play. So I have tons of materials for different characters, stuff that I can unlock. I just haven't pursued them, but we'll get to that. So when you come here, make sure you're resetting your mastery rank. Also, you can see right here what's the benefits of each rank. To get max ranks, it's all the way up to 30, but 20 is going to be that sweet spot. But if you're falling behind, that's okay. Now, what if you want to level up your weapons? What if you want to level up some characters? There's a few farms in the game that you can do. I got bored of Kingston, so I started going to Echo Swamp because the mobs are more dense there. I get it. You might not want to do one of these defend missions because there's other things in the game right now that you can do. You get XP, character XP, weapon XP, and materials. That farm is going to be on your world map. You're going to be going to Sterile land, and you're going to be going to this mission right here. This is the mission I've been farming nonstop. I did it for 6 hours yesterday and got over 10 million gold, 2 million shards, tons of modules. I broke those modules down, got more shards, got tons of materials to craft weapon crafting materials. I mean, it's just literally one of the best farms in the game. You should definitely do it. So now, why are these important? Once you beat the campaign and you unlock hard mode just turns the difficulty of the map so that you can do things at level 100. What you're going to be farming for are these. These are boss material patterns that you use when you kill a boss, and I'll explain those when I go to the next vendor. But if you get these shape stabilizers, it actually increases your percentage rates on your drop. If you want to jack the modifiers up to guarantee you get the score, you're going to check all these, and usually it sits around 100 to 150% kill score. What I like to do is reset it and try and get a higher multiplier so you can get a higher score. Make sure you pay attention and don't see one that says no grapples, because that one's tough. So as you see, I got it up to 200% here, but definitely pay attention to killing bosses and being able to open up their slots, interacting with the sphere after you kill the boss. I'll demonstrate that in a second. I'm going to load up a boss fight. You're going after those crystallization catalyst blueprints and other rare materials, so make sure that you're trying to do 3 things at once and you're not just wasting your time. Now, you want to be careful in these because they're not matchmaking yet, but the devs did say that they will be adding matchmaking to hard mode stuff. So definitely find some people to team up with, grab some friends, grab some people in game. Maybe you matchmake in normal and ask them to go do hard mode stuff. This is stuff you should be paying attention to every day, because getting these increased drop rates is going to help you get more upgrade materials. What I like to do too is I come over here and I check these bosses. I'm just going to click on the first boss of the game, and you see these check marks letting me know that I have some patterns to give to this boss. And if I see the linked shape stabilizer at the bottom, it's telling me the shape stabilizer form 1. I actually have those. I have 2. So what's nice about this, I can just come to the boss, and they're just labeled 1 through 8 because there's 8 bosses. When I come up here, I'm just going to look and see what pattern I like the best. Let's just say this. The energy activator blueprint is very important. That is going to be for getting a energy converter. This energy converter is what upgrades your descendant and gives you more module capacity. Also does it for your weapons. I'll explain that in a second. But also crystallization catalysts. So you're looking for those catalyzation blueprints. So when I'm looking at this boss and I know I have a buff for the material, I'm going to look and see what my best percentage is. If I hit K here, it's going to see how it bumps up percentages if I'm using that component down below. If I have the shape stabilizer active, I'm going to get a 6%, a 10%, and a 20%. See what we get here. So crystallization catalyst is going to take me to a 20% drop rate. I like that. That's another 20%. I'm going to go load up this boss right now, and I'm going to try and gamble for that crystallization catalyst. Again, this is the first boss in the game, and I'm really kitted right now, so he's probably just going to fall over, but hey, we want to spend these materials because I'm just looking at the bosses and seeing what stuff I can hand in. So now we're going to come here and we're going to find that 15% crystallization catalyst, and I'm going to use my stabilizer. I have a 20% chance. I do want you to realize it's a 20% chance every single time. When you run this 5 times, it's not a 100% drop rate. Ladies and gentlemen, my streamer RNG has kicked in, so my day is good. So just remember that you can come here and click on these bosses and see what you have available for. Please go spend them every single day you get them, because you never know what materials you can get from this, what characters you can unlock. Also, let's just say you don't have a shape stabilizer too. This is where we're going to talk about this wiki map. No one uses this. This is huge. Absolutely huge. This is everything you need to know about the game. If I need a mod, you know, for my Descendant, I use Blood and Iron. How do I get it? I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna press F. Tells me I can get it from hard mode obstructor boss, which is very end game. Or we can roll the clip right now and show you how I got it. I just combined 4 mods. We'll get back there soon, and I got lucky. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So now, as I said, if you're trying to get a shape stabilizer form too, you can just come here, find out where it drops from, Sterile land or missions. Just, it pretty much gives you everything on where you can get this. So let's click here. Boom, I can get this from Sterile land. Go back to the info, do the same thing, or you can get it from this. Now, as you see there, that drop rate is horrendous. Sometimes when you switch it to the harder difficulty, the percentage will go up, but barely. So stuff like that is very, very RNG dependent. These are rare, but I'm just saying farming stuff like this has a chance to increase your drop rates. I really wouldn't focus on it. One more thing I want to add to these missions that you're trying to achieve high score, you are going to get 2 patterns per run. So definitely focus on the score. If you're at the boss at the end and you feel like your score is short, you might have went way too fast with a group. All right, so let's talk about a weapon. So you got your Thunder Cage, you've got it in your campaign, and you got 2 of them. Did you use an energy activator on this weapon? Some bunnies would, some other players might. If you're wondering what that is, you just click on the module and you max capacity the modules. You're going to take it up 20 points, which is nice. Now, what if you want to infuse it to proc overcharge more? As you see, I got a 3rd pattern from farming, so my overcharge is at 2 out of 4. To do this, you're going to have to farm a whole nother pattern of the weapon. That's right, you're going to have to go back, find all the parts for the weapon again, and enhance the unique ability. Once you can do this, you would click on the weapon, select the other one to increase the perk. Now, if you want to take level 1 weapon to level 100, you would do it the same thing here. Weapon level transmission, click on the weapon you want high, and then find a weapon down here to infuse it even higher. All right, now weapon rolling. Remember that farm I was telling you about, how you choose so many materials? Well, I had 20,000 materials, so I was able to craft 200 of these. This gets expensive, but this is how you roll your weapons off RNG to get better perks on the weapon. If I didn't want to keep any and I wanted to re-roll, it's only going to cost me 1. If I want to save one of these perks and lock it, it's going to cost me 2. If I want to save this one, it's going to cost 5. And if I want to do 3, it's 20. So this does get expensive. I would hold off on doing this in the beginning of the game. Maybe just find some weapons for you to just easily get through that campaign. Then after you beat the campaign, you can grab a weapon. They'll drop it at level 100 because you'll have hard mode unlocked, and then maybe come here and just roll crit hit damage and firearm attack just so you got something to work with. But this stuff gets expensive, and I definitely waited until I was ready for endgame. If you wanted to enhance your reactor, you can do this here as well. Unfortunately, they changed this from the beta. You can only put your reactor up 2 upgrades, and it's just going to give you more skill power. Wish they would have added more to this, but yes, once you find the reactor you want, you can actually infuse the skill power higher. I'm not going to go over everything in the mod slots right here, but usually after I do a farm or I'm done playing for the day, I come here and dismantle mods. So you can just hit the button down here bottom right on PC, it's shift, and I can just delete my dupes. I'm not going to delete this because I'm going to save it for a rainy day. You can combine modules as well if you have some duplicates. If you wanted to try and get a red mod you're missing, or a yellow mod, or something you're missing, you can use some of these mods that you're not using and combine them to get better mods, be effective. Also, when you break down your duplicates, you're going to get Cooper shards. That's definitely the most important farm in the game. These were the materials I was talking about. This is how I crafted. I came down here, I crafted 200 yesterday, and I have so much materials from that farm. I'm almost to 20,000 again, and I crafted both of these. Here's where I got lucky for that crystallization catalyst on that boss. So now I can click on it and see what materials I'm missing. I just need a little bit of biogel, and if I click on it, it tells me where to get it. Very easy farm, very easy thing to do. You just come here, wait on this mission. One thing I want to show you about these missions is I'm actually going to do this. There's a way to reset these timers so they're not on 5-minute cooldowns. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch this to private before I load there. The reason why I do this, I don't want to match with other people because I don't want them in the instances while I'm trying to reset it. There's many ways to do this. I can just go through the door, and as you see here, I got 56 seconds left. I can complete this event right here and just run over here and go through this area and come back. Me personally, I just open up my map and travel somewhere else. So I'm going to demonstrate this right here. As you see here, I just completed the event. You have some options. You can move over here or just leave the area. So that's what I'm going to do. That 5-minute cooldown stinks. So we're going to launch back here and see if that timer is gone. When I load in, I'm going to check the timer to see if it reset. As you see there is no cooldown. So we're going to run to it. So I run back in the events here so I can just keep doing it. So if you're trying to farm any materials or farm a certain drop from these events, you can simply do this. Also, I want to point out, if you scroll down to the bottom of the loot, if you have a Sharon in your team or you own a Sharon on your account, if you hack these events when you're invis and you don't get seen, you get successful rewards bottom. So if you wanted to strategically farm these, you can have a Sharon in your fire team. So let's talk about the Descendant here. A lot of people are like, how do I reset my character? How do I prestige my character? Forma, like, what are you doing here to slot your character's cards so you get more max capacity on your modules? I've done this on this Glay max amount of times. The only time I haven't is this card, but I don't need to because it only costs 5 anyway. If I go to my second setting here, you can see I slotted every single one. How do you do this? Well, you got to grind your nuts off. But first, make sure you use an energy activator on the main character. You're going to get 2 of these in your main playthrough when you hit level 40 and when you beat the campaign. Don't just use these on any character because they're really rare to get and they're a pain to grind for. Trying to fight against that 3% drop rate or increasing it to 6% is very difficult. But if you use your energy activator and you've hit level 40 and you want to know what to do next, just click here and go to assign module socket type. Be careful doing this because, like Clyde, I assigned modules to the wrong slot on my gun and I had to redo it. First thing you should do before you're even like worried about any of this is pay attention to your mods. Upgrading your melee up to max capacity 10 is going to give you 10 more slots here. So the first thing I always tell people to do is make sure you have a melee mod on right here. You can use whatever one you like. There's cool ones for grapples and stuff. Make sure that this is max capacity 10 so you're getting 10 more capacity. Some people go for this right away and they're like, oh, if I slot this socket, I'm going to get 5 more. That is true. Do not do that. The reason why is look at some of the mods that I have on. Let's just look up increased HP. This goes up to 16. So if this wasn't socketed, remember, this is cut in half. If you see any mods on your Descendant that are taking up 16 of your slots, you should go after those first. The red ones go down. So when you equipped one and it says like 15, the higher you upgrade it, it decreases the mod socket. That's why I'm currently sitting at 5. So what I did was I went after all the 16s first so I could squeeze in more mods. Now this is an ultimate character, so you're going to start off with 4. An ultimate character has 4 sockets already, but it might not be what you need for your build, so you might have to change them anyway. A normal character would only have 2. It's okay though, you don't need an ultimate character. Not a big deal, it just gives you a little head start. So again, doing this and just walking you through it, I have defense on right here. The mod socket there looks like an R. It's third one down. So I'm just going to come to this, assign the socket, click on the R and make sure it's here. And then when I apply the socket, it'll reset my Descendant to level 1. I just did that. This was my final reset. You're going to be doing this a lot. Pretty much if you want to beat the hard mode bosses, you're going to need to do this to your character multiple times so you don't get pooped on. You're going to do the same thing on your weapon as well. Maybe use your other energy activator on your favorite weapon, your Thunder Gauge, your Eternal Willpower, your grenade launcher, your Tamer machine gun, all meta weapons in the game that you're pretty much making sure that you're going to stay with your playthrough. But again, I did the same thing here. I assigned mod sockets already and I'm still doing that right now. I'm a little behind on the weapons, but going after those those mods that take up 16 capacity and turning them into 8 makes more room on your weapons. I'm not going to go over all the meta mods right now because some of these weapon mods are stuff that you're going to see on every single weapon. Better concentration, rifle and reinforcement, action and reaction, better insight and weak point. Playing into the attack, the crit hit, the crit damage, the weak point damage. That's pretty much what everyone's running on their weapons, unless you're running some different kind of build or like AoE or anything. Important modules for your Descendant. Increased def and increased HP is huge. Playing into defense and giving yourself HP is good. But again, depending on what build you're running, one might be important than the other. I remember when I was leveling up my Glay, I couldn't squeeze HP collector on and I kept one-shotting myself because the abilities that I use, actually when I'm using my third and fourth ability, I'm taking health away and I couldn't heal because there was no enemies in the boss room. But when they spawned, all I'd have to do is be across the map and get some shots in on them and kill them and instantly recover my health. So like resocketing other mods to squeeze this in was huge for the build, and you'll see that as you're going. But this question's always asked over and over and over: what does reset character mean? What does prestige character mean? So I wanted to take some time to explain this. Hopefully you understand this. So remember, energy activator to juice your mod capacity, work on your master rank, and then go after the melee. Moving on to reactors, I just want to point out some stuff that I didn't know. I didn't know what mounting means. Simply, you have to have the weapon in your hand. Since I'm using the Python and I got lucky, I don't need one of these other ones that have like a required asset of, this requires a submachine gun. I wanted to go from 140% skill power to 160. As you see here, it's not activated, but if I make sure that the weapon's on my back, it's now in my hand and it's counting as mounting. So anytime I use my alt, which is my fourth ability, I need to make sure that I have my weapon out. That's the only way that this reactor is going to work. For your external components, these really don't matter unless you need a set like I do. I need this annihilation set to buff my damage. You need to be paying attention to a farm set. You should have a farm set on. Something to put on while you're farming shards, while you're farming mods, while you're farming XP, weapon XP, character XP, and also gold. But look for components that have gold perks on these because they're going to have higher percents. The percents are also tied to the level of the component as well. I had a level 77 component, but they were both gold, and chat made fun of me. They're like, yo, you need to get a level 100. I didn't know this. So having stuff like shards and modules, very important. There is loadouts in this game. This is stuff that I didn't know about. Just assign a preset for farming materials. You're always going to put those components on when you're farming materials. It's huge. Now we move on to XP, and this is what's really gonna get you. Shared XP is a thing in this game. If you are on a character that you're trying to prestige and you're resetting that character to level 1, as you're trying to level up these weapons because you're trying to reset them as well, it's shared XP across your account. I was trying to reset my Glay so I could max out my components, but I realized my weapons were taking forever. If you want to really farm weapon XP, go on the bunny. Remember, you get the bunny in the first 20 minutes of the game. Make sure your bunny's maxed out and just run around, electrocute everything. You're going to get weapon XP a lot quicker. Or make sure that when you're trying to level weapons that you're on a 40 character so you don't lose out on that XP. Also, what I was doing, if I wanted to focus on one weapon, I would simply unequip both weapons so that on a 40 character, all my XP was going into that weapon alone. I wish I knew this sooner. All right, you just beat the campaign and you didn't know about this menu. I had no clue. But when you're in this world map, look down here in the bottom right hand corner, difficulty level rewards. We're going to hit that. This is where you can target farm, but if you click all rewards, this gives you a reactor schedule. This is huge. So when you switch builds or you want to try something different out, it tells you where to go get your reactor. My Glay reactor is right here, and it's telling me to go to Sterile Land. That's actually the same place where you're doing your XP farm. So this was insane, but I didn't get the reactor I wanted, but I came close. This is something huge that you should pay attention to. Also, in this previous menu, you can target farm anything you're looking for here, anything in the map. Use the filters, find out where to get stuff, use your tools. Again, everything's in this game, everything. You want a Descendant, you want enhancement materials, you can look up the wiki. Please use it because you'll ask less questions. Going back to that farm again. So here's the void materials, here's the void shard materials, but going back to that juicer farm again, remember that one I told you about? While you're doing that mission, you have a chance to get these code analyzers. These code analyzers are hidden all over the map. Now remember, there's differences between normal ones and hard mode difficulties, so make sure you read them because they might not be able to open on a normal area or a hard mode area. If you have a Enzo in your team or someone of your friends has one, you can actually get more shards. If you don't want to wait for your friends, you guys can all open them all at once. This is 75,000 shards a piece. So do the math here. I almost have 20 of them. You're kind of just stacking coin. Don't forget to use these. I didn't even know these were a thing, and then I went and popped like 10 of them, and I'm like, oh my god, I have 750,000 shards. I do want to point out though, while you're doing the mini game, I'm old, I messed up, failed the mini game, and it takes it from you. You actually lose your consumables, so make sure that you got those clicks ready to go. So talking about these void fragment spots, when you're in the campaign and you see a ball and you can't damage it, because you need to match the same skill to it. This one is non-attribute here, so you need to be on a class that can do non-attribute damage to that ball to start the mission. Also, someone in your team can do it, but you will not get the additional rewards for matching the skill. So if you're on like the character that is matching that skill, you're gonna get these additional materials that's gonna help you in endgame and also help you with new characters and unlocking new stuff in the game. So hopefully these tips and tricks can help you get through the game and understand it more. I wish I had all this information when I started playing, and who knows, maybe you learned something by watching this video. Appreciate it. I got some broken build videos coming soon. Thanks for watching.